Hello and welcome to tutorial 115, and in this tutorial I want to talk about the alarm object in Tradestation and also some of the shortcomings of the alarm object, and then show a way of setting an alarm using the timer. And I'm probably going to do this across two videos. So first of all, we're going to create a show me study that does something when an alarm goes off at some point in the future. Let's go into the program tutorial 115 dev, which I've already created, but as you can see, apart from some copyright statements and so on, it's basically empty. And what we're going to do is go into toolbox. Now the alarm is available here. If it were not, we would go right click on this area here. We'd then say choose items, and we then just make sure that the alarm was selected like so, which I've already done. Okay, so let's double click on alarm, and having selected that, let's look at the properties. Now what we're going to do is set the alarm at a time in the future. So I've got my my system clock here showing about 2:56. So what we're going to do is make that perhaps 3:01, and I'm going to set this a second value of 45, and the rest of that looks fine. In terms of events, we're going to create an event. We're just going to double click here, and an event has appeared in our program. Okay, so I'm just going to cut and paste that. What I'm also going to do here is just going to view the designer generated code, and I'm going to copy this area here into my program like so. And then having done that, I'm just going to get rid of some of the comments just so that we can see a little bit more clearly what's going on in the program. So there's not really too much to this program at the moment, and what we're going to do is we're going to make the program at the time of the event goes off. We're going to plot something on the chart. So let's just do that, plot at L, and we're also going to print something on the chart. Okay, so what we want to do here is print the current time, and we're going to do that using elsystem.datetime.now. And then so we understand what that's actually telling us, we're going to use the format statement, and the particular format that we're going to use is going to be in quotes %i, capital I, %m, %s, small p. We're going to see what these mean in a second. We need to close the brackets. Just need to recreate that end statement that I messed up. Okay, now the other thing that we need to do is actually make sure now the alarm has a property which means that you can snooze. So what will happen is if the alarm goes off, the alarm will then go off again after so long. If you don't want that to happen, you have to set alarm the snooze to false. So we're going to go args.snooze equals false, like so. The other thing that we need to do is we need to set the alarm. So we're going to do a statement here which is going to be alarm one.set, like so. Okay, so I think that's all we need to start with. Now this program is actually, okay, just check, we have an error here. Okay, now the reason for that is I copied the code from the designer generated code, but what we need to do is just remove this from the bottom of the screen now. I'm just going to try that again. Okay, that plot is incorrectly formatted. We need to go plot number, plot 1, plot 2, plot 3, but not just plot by itself. And we also need to have a semicolon there, and we also need to have 2 brackets just to close the print statement off correctly. Okay, so I think we're good now. So let's just check 3:01. Time has gone by, so I'm just going to make that 3:03. Time has gone beyond the time we originally set the alarm for. Okay, so I'm just going to clear this area here, which I did from a previous program. Just going to check we've got that applied to the chart. Okay, that is on. Let's make sure the others are turned off. So we're just going to wait now and see what happens at 3:03. In fact, it looks like it may have already fired. So what I'm going to do is just put that a little bit in the future, add a little bit of more explanation here. So we're going to say alarm fired at, okay, so I'm going to verify that. And what I may do is pause the video and let you see, then come back to it so you're not waiting for this thing to fire. Okay, so you can see that the alarm has fired, but you can also see that we're getting some sort of spurious print statements here at other times. You'll also notice, more importantly, perhaps that, well, not necessarily more importantly, that this fired at 3:05:01. And if we go back to the program, you'll see that we set this to be at 3:05:45. Now, the problem we have here is that the alarm actually does not work to the second level. So if we wanted to use the alarm to the second level, we actually need to do something else, and that's using the timer. So if we really wanted this thing to fire at 3:05:45, we need to set the timer. So what I'm going to do is just demonstrate how to do that. So the first thing we're going to need is a timer, like so. And let's just look at the properties. It's going to set some of these false, true, timer 1, that's fine. And we're going to have the elapsed. So I've just double clicked on that. It gives us a timer elapsed event. Okay, so let's just go and see what we need to change here. So let's go to the timer, click there, go view designer generated code. And again, what we're going to do is copy this into the main program. So with methods, they always need to occur at the top of the program. So let's again just tidy this up a little bit. So I'm going to get the var statement, put it at the top of the program, and I'm going to get rid of some of the comments. Now, because we've got an initialize statement, we can't have another one. So what I'm going to do is just include it all together. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just going to put those two events together. And what we need to do, because this thing is occurring, or we actually want the thing to fire 45 seconds after the alarm fires. Bear in mind, as I mentioned, the alarm does not work to the second level, so we need to assume the alarm's going to fire on the minute. Then we need to set up the timer for the seconds. So let's do that. So we don't want to enable the timer until the alarm has triggered. So I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to put the timer enable into the alarm event, like so. The other thing that we need to do is we need to tell this thing what the timer interval is. Now the timer bases its interval in milliseconds, so we want 45 seconds, and in milliseconds that's just 45 times by 1,000, 45,000. So we're going to have the alarm fired at this time. We're then going to have the timer fired, hopefully, at the 45 seconds after that. So I'm going to say timer fired at, and that's going to fire at the specific time. Okay, so let me just double check this. What we can also do is just add a plot statement just so that we can see that on the chart. So we can say plot2 L minus, we just need to separate it by a small amount. Perhaps just put in a different color, like blue, for instance. Okay, okay, I think that's good. Let's just try and verify. Let's just see what the mistake is. Okay, again, we've forgotten to delete the actual object here at the bottom of our chart. We need to do that because we copied the designer generated code. So in other words, the code is there twice, which is going to cause errors. But I think it's quite a good technique to actually develop using the objects in the toolbox, but then copying them into the actual program. And I think the advantage of that is you can then copy your program or show your program. You don't need to export the ELD, for example, at the Tradestation forums. Okay, so let's have a look at the program, and we need to reset the time. So just go to this one here. Oh, actually it's not an input, so we need to reset the time. It's now 3:12 on my clock, so let's make it 3:14. Let's just go back to the chart and wait for 3:14. So it's 3:12 at the moment, so I may just pause the program. I'm just going to clear the print log, and let's see what happens. Okay, so again the alarm has fired at well, actually at 3:14:01. It's ignored the seconds in the time. But what we've done differently this time is we've set up the timer. So hopefully we will see the timer is going to fire at 3:14:45. Now, as I mentioned, I've found the alarm has some bugs. It's firing at some spurious times. I don't know why. Also, when applied to numerous charts, I found sometimes alarms are just completely ignored. Okay, so then we could see the timer fired 45 seconds later on the chart. So what I think is probably a better approach at the moment is not to use the alarm, but to use an approach just using the timer. What I'm going to do is demonstrate that in another video. This program and the program that I'm demonstrating in the next video are available for download for a small fee at markplex.com. That's markplex.com, and they will be available at zero cost to Gold Pass members. Thank you.